In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.
Welcome, everyone, to the worst episode of District Divided coming up because everything sucks right now. We just lost to Dallas. I really don't even want to do this, but we have to because we bring it to you every Wednesday at 3 p.m. I am Amit. That is LC. That is KDot. Sorry to start on such a shit note, but KDot was at the game, so I think it's actually going to be even worse. Go ahead, KDot. Just take it.
So I was excited to do this episode. Because I think, yeah, now that we're getting into it, I don't know. There are a couple angles to this whole thing. So I think what I'll focus on right now is just my game day experience at FedExField. And we'll talk about the gameplay and the team, because from what I'm seeing on Twitter, I might fall a little outside of what everybody else is saying as far as the team or what it is the game meant. But the game day experience at FedExField. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is just as shitty as you would fucking think. And it had nothing to do with the final score of the fucking game. That was one of the worst goddamn afternoons I have ever had in my life, period. Like, we're trying to coordinate with the family. So, like, I've told you guys, I refuse to buy any more Washington football team tickets. I ain't fucking doing it, right? I ain't trying to go and line that fucker Dan Snyder, who's all over the Washington Post today because he's a fucking prick and an asshole, and Jeff Bezos needs to take the fuck over. But regardless, trying to coordinate with the girlfriend's family who have a bunch of tickets that we want to go to this Washington game. And actually in the family is a bunch of fucking Dallas Cowboy fans. So I already feel bad that I'm even going to this thing. But girlfriend wants to do it. Her family wants to do it. I'm fucking going. It's okay. Whatever. Just make it happen. Looking around parking, trying to figure out the Metro. Still, all the complaints that we already know. You want to fucking take the Metro? Are you okay with a 1 mile uphill walk in the middle of fucking COVID with a new goddamn variant and a bunch of people breathing on your goddamn neck? No, I decided I'm going to drive. Now I want to drive. What is that going to cost me? $80 fucking dollars? And then guess what? They didn't even check my fucking parking pass. They didn't check it. They didn't check my $80 fucking parking pass. Whatever. Go to the goddamn thing. A park. We're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go up. Now, unlike a lot of the new state, unless there's something I'm fucking missing, because I haven't been to FedEx in a minute, right? Are there escalators to take you up to the top? Because them goddamn ramps, man. What the fuck? The ramps. The ramps. I could see all of the DMV by the time I got to the top of that bitch. And I'm just hearing the crowd inside roaring. And here's the thing. I don't even know what the fuck is happening inside. Used to be, when you hear the crowd roaring at your home stadium, usually something good happened to your guys, right? Not at fucking FedExField. Not when the Dallas Cowboys are playing, because the stadium was like a 65-35 fucking split of Cowboys fans over Washington fans. It was nutty. It's fucking absurd. By the time I got to my seat, walking past all the by the time I got to my seat, walking past all the ghost town concession stands that just don't have broken TVs and a hot dog that, look, it's hard to fuck up a hot dog. How'd they fuck up the hot dog? Felt like it was microwaved from 6 weeks ago. Piece of shit.
The hot dogs were also 65-35 from Dallas and from Washington. They flew those in probably. Go ahead.
2 beers, 2 hot dogs, $49 fucking dollars.
No. Really?
$49 fucking dollars.
Was that BOGO?
That is wild.
Get to the seat. I look around. I'm wearing my Chase Young jersey, my black hoodie, right? Just going to slide up in here. It's
looking fresh.
Looking fresh. This is my fucking stadium. I look across section 430. See a blue. See a fucking blue.
No.
Then on top of that, from a personal standpoint, I started having a slight anxiety attack. Worst possible place to have it. Fans behind me want to start talking shit, so I turn around, got right in his fucking face. You ain't never been to fucking Dallas. Fuck you, fuck your crew. I didn't go that far out. There were some kids involved, but I said some choice words. Come to find out he was actually from Dallas, so I dapped him up because, you know, that's cool. You
that's
do your
legit.
thing. Yeah, it's
hard
legit. But his boys tried to pipe up and say something. I looked at him and said, where you from? And he turned right around and said, I knew it. I knew it, you motherfucker. I knew it. But having the entire area booing me was insane. When you saw certain things were happening at home. Then it was even looking at the when the Cowboys came out, the fucking geniuses at the stadium decided to play The Boys Are Back in Town. After we had found out that they had shipped in their own fucking benches, after Mike McCarthy had said that he's guaranteeing the fucking win, After Jerry Jones is flexing over all the merchandise revenue he collects from the Washington, D.C. area, that was a fucking travesty. On the drive home, look, man, I could go into all the different ways in which it fucking sucked, but to think about the proud legacy of this fucking organization, to think about what Dallas Week used to mean, to see the fucking cow puke fans all around, and to also know I can't look at any of the fans of this team and say it's their fault. I can't say, oh, you fucked up. We should have home field advantage. No,
you can't say we all should have gone. Yeah,
because I didn't want to be there.
Right.
I was like, why would I be here if I could watch it at home? Why would I have done through all this if I could watch it at home? Like, I want to be out there and support the guys on the team. But god damn, man, that fucking stadium is trash. Getting there is trash. The fucking food is trash. It's all trash.
What is Elsie? Just give me a second here. Home, the word home, right? What we do, we play at FedExField. We play in Landover, Maryland. That is no home.
Do they
home
practice
is
there?
a place. No, they practice in Ashburn, Virginia. That's probably more of a home because at least the away fans.
So they don't
away
even
fans are
practice
there too. Actually, they troll there too. But home is a place where you're supposed to feel comfortable. Home is a place where you can sit down, relax, and enjoy the show. You can't do that. And this is a pivotal game at FedExField. I'm not calling it home anymore. At FedExField this past Sunday, where we could have been a game back in the NFC East. The most exciting thing in that game was finding the pair of scissors that Taylor Heinicke did as he was coming off the field. There was a pair of scissors on the football field. I don't even know how that's possible. Like, that takes effort to get the scissors onto the field. I am disappointed to hear that your parking pass didn't get checked. The other thing that didn't get checked was Micah Parsons. He seemed to get a free run at Taylor Heinicke every single time he wanted it. We've got people saying he's Defensive Player of the Year now. Thank the Lord Aaron Donald did what he did on Monday night to remind people that ain't true. But Micah Parsons did what he wanted to. The Dallas Cowboys did what they wanted to. And it was the worst possible outcome to the game. The fact that we only lost by 7 is ridiculous. It truly is shocking because it felt like we lost by 40, maybe even 50. The offense didn't show up. Props to the defense, who I actually think did show up. But that offense was the worst game Heinicke's played for us.
I want to know if you saw any sewage water come from the stands.
I did not see any sewage water. I was waiting for it. I did hear that there was some.
Okay, now we're building.
Because I think it's been like 2 different games already that I've seen that happen.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Dude, I can't. I even want to root for the entertainment team that they have instead of the cheerleaders, and I can't. It's just so goddamn boring.
They really actually had the poop water on the field this time. In the form of
for the first quarter.
Right. For the first quarter.
No, I
we put out there.
TV. I turned on the TV, put it in the first quarter. It was like 30 seconds left of the first quarter. I was like, oh shit, this is bad.
Fucking 18-0. Is that
18-0.
right? 18.
That was right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think the next few drives that I saw were also not a first down, like not even a single first down. It was just 3 plays and a punt.
What? So how?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I don't think this game outcome was
home.
as bad as everybody else is saying it was. If I'm being completely honest, like, I don't think it was that far removed from what we have seen the last few weeks. Which is, I keep coming on this podcast and telling everybody we're one bounce, fumble, catch anything away from winning or losing all these games we played over the last 4 weeks. Now, that's not to take away from Taylor Heinicke had the worst game he's had in a very long time. But that's also something I've come on this podcast and said repeatedly, is that with Taylor, he's going to have some bad games in a year.
Correct.
Like, this is not outside of the realm for Taylor. I think what ended up happening in this game more than anything is that we've been running the football, controlling the time of possession, and playing stout defense. The only problem with that is that if you get down behind fast, it's hard to stick with the script when you need to throw to make things happen. And I think with Taylor, different than the last 4 weeks, is his mechanics kind of went out the window a bit. We've overlooked a few of the passes that he's had in these games where he's not setting his feet right, or that he takes that shot when there was somebody a little more open or completely open, shallow. And we know he doesn't have the arm strength to make those passes. But, I mean, if you look at what the final score is, and I think people are like, man, it should have been like, Amit, you started, man, it should have been 40-something to nothing. I'm like, not really. I mean, we were in that game.
Yeah.
We were in the game. I think the 7-point defeat is like, well, shit, we were really, really in that game. Like, I look at it felt like a revert to a certain degree back to the games that we saw at least earlier in the season. Whereas that we would start off really, really weak and then catch on in the second half. And I think when we saw that drive that Taylor put on, where it was like 6 plays, 60 yards, and that pass to Cam Sims that got us right back in it, and we converted the 2-point conversion. And at that point, I think we were down like, 24-8? So the next drive that Dallas's offense goes out there, they go 3 and out. We get the ball back. We're about to start marching down the field, and then the worst possible thing happens. Antonio Gibson fumbles the football, which has been a problem the entire season. He leads the league in fumbles from the running back position. It's been an issue. It's not new. It just happened in the same way it's been happening. It was just like when it rains, it pours, right? When he fumbles that ball, it killed a lot of momentum. But if you look at the second half and you look at the drives that ended in points, once again, we were moving the ball more. We were moving the ball a lot more, regardless if it was Taylor or Kyle in that game. We were moving the ball down the field a lot more than we were doing in the first half, and the defense was playing fucking stout, including that Cole Holcomb fucking return for a touchdown, put us right back in it.
Excellent. Yeah, no, again, the defense was good. Here's the one thing I want to point to that lost us the game from the get-go. Okay, so Antonio Gibson's first run was on a 1st and 10. It was for 2 yards. That led to a 2nd and 8. The next drive, we had a 1st and 10. Left guard, no gain for Antonio Gibson. Okay, it leads to a 2nd and 10. Next drive, Antonio Gibson, 1st and 10, 1 yard. That's 2nd and 9. Next drive after that, Antonio Gibson, 2 yards, leads to 2nd and 8. What we learned is something I think we all already knew, but we did not have to acknowledge over the past 4 weeks. We have been running really well on 1st and 10. It leads to 2nd and 6. It leads to 2nd and 5. It leads to 2nd and 4. When it leads to 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, and 2nd and 10, Taylor begins to think, I have to do it myself. That's where his mechanics go. Because once he starts thinking, I need to do it myself, he is not Justin Herbert. We know this. He's not a quarterback with this just howitzer for an arm. He's not, in that sense, Brett Favre, who can just take a game over because he's got a cannon and he makes some occasional bad decisions, but it works out for him. He's limited. It's not a bad thing. He could still end up being a starter in this league, and I think he will be somewhere, whether it's here, whether it's somebody else. He's played well enough to do it. But it is clear that he is one of those quarterbacks that needs the help of a run game. That's not a knock necessarily, because you can win with it. You can. In my opinion, you can win with it. But if it's not there, it's going to be a long day. And that is something that Scott Turner, Ron Rivera will have to figure out. Also, the offensive line did no favors for him. They were getting killed. Go ahead, Elsie.
I have a football noob question here, because so it's 2nd and 9. Who calls the next play and whether it'll be a pass or a run or whatever sort of play? Is it a combination of coach and quarterback? Or because, you're saying, it sounds like you're saying like he's making the decision, okay, this next play, I have to, make a 9-yard pass or more.
Yeah, that's a good question. So
it's Scott Turner, and it's what I criticize Scott Turner for a lot of times too. Even early on in some of those games on the four game win streak, I'd like to go back and look at the play-by-play. I don't think early on in the game the first down runs were madly successful, but you have to stick with it. If you're still in the game, there's no reason that every time on 2nd down, Taylor needs to drop back and throw. Run it again. You have Antonio Gibson that needs to get no groove. You don't have J.D. McKissic as a changing pace back. He needs to get no groove. So if that's the case, run again. There are going to be some drives where you're just like, well, fuck, we didn't really amount anything there, but he's got to get the carries. You have to stick with it. Even when it doesn't work sometimes, you have to stick with it.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think we got away from in this game. And then the playbook seemed like the game plan seemed to get thrown out of the window real quick, because I think a lot had to do with the energy that was in the stadium. I'm a big momentum guy. The energy in the stadium, the way Dallas was just on fire early. They were hitting hard on defense, getting riled up. The crowd was right there, getting them riled up. And I think with all of that, Taylor, like you said, wanted to make everything happen. And I think Scott Turner wanted to make everything happen. And all that combination of that gets away from what the identity of this team was the last 4 weeks. And that's why I look at this game and I'm looking at the defense and the way that we prepared and the way that we played. Dak Prescott, through his worst, I think he had his worst QBR in his entire career.
He was really bad. He's been having bad games recently.
Yeah, recently.
So we didn't take advantage of it.
But all right, so that once again, I agree. Not taking advantage of it, especially on the offensive side of things, right? So you got to score, you got to make things happen. But I'm very proud because that's the thing that everybody was afraid of going into this game was what is the firepower of Dallas is going to look like? It didn't look that scary to me, not at least against us. Then if I'm looking at, all right, so what do we do on offense? Micah Parsons is a beast. There's no getting around it. But I look at Trayvon Diggs, we threw on his ass. And a lot of the times when I'm looking at the Taylor Heinicke interception, which was extremely frustrating to see because he had Terry McLaurin so wide the fuck open, just a little further in, that would have gotten the first down and would have been the Taylor Heinicke decision he made the last 4 weeks. He decided he needed to have everything right there. He does not have the arm strength to make it happen. And it was underthrown, severely underthrown. I mean, shit, if he had the arm, he could have threw that open too. I forget who the ball was doing that. Was it Carter? I don't think it was Carter.
There was one to Carter. There was also one to McLaurin. There any number of
There's
them.
There's a few of them, right?
Right.
But now I look at, like, if that fumble doesn't happen for Antonio Gibson and we still continue to drive the way that we were driving, are we back in that game? That last series that we have, if DeAndre Carter makes that fucking catch on the sideline, that was right there. How close are we into that game? I think the 20-27 is very indicative of where this team lies. And everybody on the Cowboys' dick right now saying Super Bowl a bust after what it is that happened in Washington. I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
The Cowboys are in total trouble.
But anybody in Washington saying, man, fuck Taylor Heinicke or fuck this and fuck that, I'm like, calm the fuck down.
You can't do it. He needs to be allowed to have a bad game. Elsie, just to answer your question more generically, typically it's the offensive coordinator. But if they spend a lot of time together, like the quarterback and offensive coordinator, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, stuff like that. Or the quarterback's been around for so long, sometimes they can just call the plays on the fly as well. They have that liberty to do so. So just wanted to make that clear. It depends. In this case, because Taylor is just starting for the first time, of his career, this basically his first season starting.
Yeah, I'm sure he's getting instructions.
Exactly. Scott Turner is calling all of this. So that's the current understanding.
Interesting.
Just another quick note, as if things weren't bad enough. And yes, you're right, KDot, 27-20. We had a shot despite everything that happened. We fumbled 3 times. We lost all 3 fumbles. We had Heinicke throw an interception, 4 turnovers, and we only lost by a touchdown. I think that does speak to the resilience of the team. I think it was very frustrating early on, and that probably overshadows the overall performance. The overall performance actually was okay. The defense was great. I really think, all things considered, the defense was really good. They were missing a couple different DNs in James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill.
Out for COVID,
and
right?
yeah, exactly.
4 defensive ends gone.
Right. And I think, all things considered, Dallas didn't do a whole lot offensively. They moved the ball some, yes, but overall, I thought the defense had a lot to be proud of. Now, speaking of COVID, we've lost some more people. We have lost some more people to COVID. We'll see who all are vaccinated and who all aren't, but Jonathan Allen's on the list now, which is huge because he's probably been our best player on the defensive side of the ball all season. Kendall Fuller's on the list now. You name it, they're on the list. Honestly, that's what's going on right now. We are being caught by the bug. I hope everyone ends up being okay. I honestly hope people are vaccinated so that they can get those 2 negative tests and play against Philadelphia. Because right now, KDot, you get the call from coach? Because I'm playing corner on Sunday. I think you're playing D tackle is what he told me you were going to do.
I thought about it, but I refuse to not play wide receiver. I mean, I just want to be live necessary.
Damn it. I always knew that was going to be a problem. LC, did you get the call? You playing corner alongside me?
No, man, my knee's busted for amateur soccer on a Tuesday night. I can't play.
You can just say no. Point being, I don't know who the hell is going to play defense on Sunday as of right now because we are just missing so many guys. These results hold.
Is that Sammy Reyes guy still around?
Yeah, he's in concussion protocol. Yeah, that's another great thing. Yeah,
How did he
maybe
get
sustained a concussion. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
that's just how it went. That's just how it went. Honestly,
no, that one happened. But I think the COVID thing's about to get a lot worse. And whether it's the combination of the the Omicron. Stupid fucking name. Omicron variant. And
it sounds the most dangerous, doesn't it? And everyone's like, "Oh, the symptoms are mild."
It sounds like a bad corporation in fucking RoboCop.
It does.
Yeah, like a transformer.
That's the evil corporation. Omicron. That's what. But I think with that plus, I'm willing to bet the booster rate of NFL players is not great.
Well, they also had the mandate come out that all tier 1 and tier 2 employees now have to be vaccinated. I assume tier 1 would be the players, but I'm not sure.
But that's the thing. We're just getting the vaccinated. We're not getting to, have you gotten your booster yet? Nobody's asking that.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's asking that question.
Yeah.
Montez, Doug, I hope you feel better, but
I'm mad. It's okay. I know. There are things we want to say, but that okay. I think that's gonna more or less conclude this covers the WAPO article. If you do have a subscription, it is worth reading. It is basically about Dan Snyder using intimidation tactics to make sure that people didn't talk during this investigation. He was undermining the NFL's investigation. Those are the findings from Liz Clark and Will Hobson of the Washington Post, owned by one Jeffrey Bezos. So we'll see how people feel about that if he suddenly wanted to be owner.
Yeah, do it. Change the name. Amazon Primes, Will Brown.
Yeah, Washington Primes. I'm cool.
Straight.
Washington Optimus Primes. Brought to you by Omicron Corporation. I mean, I don't know.
You get your parking voucher delivered in 2 days.
Thought it'd be legit.
Yeah,
Look,
$80.
Fuck Dan Snyder. Fuck the stadium experience. Look, people need to know as far as who deserves blame for what. Dan deserves blame for that stadium falling apart the way it has. Jack Kent Cook deserves a lot of fucking blame for deciding that's where he wanted to build the fucking stadium in Rowley, Maryland. The selfish fuck. Rest in peace. Your foundation is a great one, though, sir. Beyond that, he put so many kids through school. It's insane. But like he did more in death than he did in life. Oops. The idea of everything that had to do with FedEx is a shit show. I know that there's like zero chance that Washington will ever play in the District of Columbia anymore. I ain't fighting for that. Honestly, I don't give a shit. Just make sure it's a good game day experience and I can get to it easily. I think it'll probably end up being on the 66 fucking corridor somewhere in Reston next to some goddamn tech corporation.
I honestly think a lot of it would be forgiven if the stadium were just accessible. People are like, fuck Dan Snyder, hate him, this and that. But if the stadium's a metro stop away and it's like,
why can't we just have the stop like
half a mile?
Up? Or how about shuttles? Huh? How about them shuttles? How about you get the shuttles back? Huh?
I would like some shuttles. But then people won't pay for the parking. They know that you don't want to walk a mile uphill. It's all by design.
Like the best thing would be, of course, knock down RFK, federal land, whatever. I don't give a shit. Give it to the fucking team. What are we gonna do with it? Build a bunch of fucking Chipotles. Just fucking give it to him. Build a goddamn stadium. Make sure it's not a fucking dome stadium, and we can just cash the Metro to Stadium Armory or like be at Capitol Hill and decide we're gonna take a long fucking walk to the stadium, like the good old fucking days. Remember those?
Build a stadium on the mall between the monument and the Lincoln Memorial.
I'm all over the place because I also smoke. I smoked a little bit before
very American.
That would be the most American thing. Just destroy all the green.
Make it a football field.
Yeah, we just make it a football field. Have Constitution Avenue just be the stands.
And we can call it Dallas Memorial Stadium, and we just can never lose to Dallas there. How about that?
That'd be actually kind of dope.
Yeah, right? Cool. Calling our shots with the stadium name. Oh man! All right, you know what? That's gonna wrap this segment up. Up next, LC's rugby rule of the day.
Yes,
as
sir.
we continue learning more and more about rugby, LC is our expert. As always, sir, the floor is yours. Last week we discussed tackling. What are we talking about this week?
I want to talk a little bit about the scoring. So if you catch a game and it's middle of the game, you kind of know, is somebody getting their ass kicked or is there still a chance? There's similarities with football. So you'll see a little bit of that, but I want to tell you of every single way that you can score with a couple of variations, which not everyone may know about. We'll start with the try, which is the most, it's the closest thing to like a touchdown in football. So a try in rugby is where you have the ball as a player and you actually have to press it down on what would be the touchdown zone. We call it the end goal. So you don't just have to walk into it like in football. You actually have to put pressure between the ball and the ground. So you have to press it down. And that gives you 5 points. And just like in football, there's a conversion attempt. But in football, the conversion attempt is always from the same spot, right? What is it in the NFL, like 25 yards out or something?
33 officially now.
Okay. But did they start at the 25-yard line or something?
So they start. So it's they always add. I think it's either 17 or 18 yards. So they start at the 15 and add the 17. So 32.
And you like, right? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You hike it back and whatever.
Right.
So the conversion, which is worth 2 points. So converted try is worth 7, just like a converted touchdown. The conversion is the kicker selects whatever distance he wants, but he has to take it on a on a perpendicular line to what would be the touchdown zone. So if you score your try on the corner, the kicker has to take it on the corner as far back as he wants. Obviously, the further back you go, you get a better angle, but you're further back. So that's it. So whenever you score a try, you want to score it towards the middle. Sometimes you'll see people who like break away and they'll either do one more couple of steps just so that they can get a good position on the ball because the kicker now has an easier kick. So doesn't matter. It does matter where you actually score your try. So try is 5, conversion is 2.
Interesting. So yeah. So question. So it sounds like you score and then you have to move it X number of yards or meters, whatever metric we're using here, vertically, like backwards.
Yeah, and the kicker selects as many as he wants.
Okay, like got it. So if it's in the middle, I can just move it back 10 yards. Boom. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Whereas if it's on the corner, I'm probably taking it back way further because I don't want an acute angle.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a really difficult kick. Okay, got it.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're hard. The corner kicks are pretty hard, honestly. And you kick from the tee, so you don't have another player hold it or anything. You put a tee, put the ball down. Actually, it's pretty interesting if you see every kicker has a very determined pre-kicking ritual or routine. So it's kind of like a batting ritual. You know how every guy has like their mechanics, or like a free throw ritual, right? Like everyone has their mechanics. Every kicker has their mechanics. It usually consists of a way of stepping back, taking some side steps, visualizing the ball, and then taking a deep breath and kicking. Also, quick one. As soon as the kicker starts advancing towards the ball to kick it, the opponents who are all lined up at the end zone can start running towards the kicker to block it. So very, 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 very rarely happens. The kicker usually has enough time to kick it, but they do have that possibility. You can run and try to block it.
So that also factors into the distance, I suppose. It's like, maybe I'll move it a little further back because once I start my movement forward, they can rush.
Yeah, they can rush. Yeah. So that's the try. That's the conversion. 5 + 2.
Can you on the corner kicks, can you run from out of bounds? Like you're winding up.
Good question, because they just get rocked immediately.
Like I come from the stands, you're get my running start from that.
That was so ridiculous in my head. I really couldn't see it. Like from out of you have to be behind you.
I have to be behind on the field of play.
Yeah. That was an excellent question.
Hey, I need some more space to get my run. Just make sure I get this kick. Okay, all right, cool.
I'm just imagining all these people. Like, I don't want to take the extra point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take this one. Is there? Question, Elsie, is there you may have just said this, but is there a designated like kicker like there would be in football, for example?
Absolutely. So it may change a little bit. Some pro teams have like a right foot and a left foot. There's the legendary Johnny Wilkinson would kick with both feet and basically won the entire World Cup in 2007 for England. I think I want to say something like 90% of the points are just kicks from him. And the guy kicked with both feet from any distance, just made it. It was unbelievable. So, but every team, usually it's either number 10, number 15, who are usually the good kickers.
So the try is 5 points.
Yeah.
For that, you need to actually press it down. You can't just drop it.
No, that's actually, you would do a turnover there. Yeah.
Okay. You can't Deshaun Jackson it.
No.
Okay, I got that one. And then he's done that so many times in his career. He did it this year too. And then, okay, so you put the pressure down. That's 5 points. Then it's the conversion.
That's 2.
Which is 2 points. I think I've also seen situations where they're just running and they just sort of are like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to kick this in right now.
Yeah, it's called a drop kick.
That's the drop kick.
That's exactly it. So what happens is this is usually used in a situation where either time's running out or you need quick points, or you for some reason believe you're not going to score a try and you just want to end the play, or you just have a really good kicker and like, you know what, fuck it, we'll take 3 points. But usually they'll give the kicker a few more yards than normal, so the team will sort of take more distance and pass the ball to the kicker so that they have a little time before the opponent team comes to tackle them. So they're not passing in 5 yards back. They're probably passing at 15 so that the guy has some time. But it's just a drop kick. So the ball has to hit the ground first and then your boot. And if it goes through the post, you get 3 points. Very simple. Yeah.
Oh,
but
I like that. Okay.
A lot harder than it looks.
Sure. And can anyone kick that one?
Anyone.
Okay, so I could be pissed off if KDot and I are in a team. I chuck it back to him and he just decides to let it fly.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So
okay.
you do that. That's 3 points.
They're honestly
that could
definitely happen there. Go ahead.
They're quite rare, honestly, in professional rugby at least. That they don't happen as often. Sometimes you have a few players who are known for it, and so you'll see it from them a lot. But it's not super common to see a game where many drop kicks are attempted. But
I feel like it happens a lot. Like every time I see like a rugby highlight, it's one of those things that they definitely show.
You're watching the highlights.
So rare. That's true.
That's a good point. You are watching the highlights.
That's what it is.
This is why he's our rules expert.
Drop kicking stuff all the time.
Everything rugby he understands. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say if you look at most games, like there won't be a drop kick scored. There may be one attempt, but they're honestly they're not easy. I don't think I scored one. Looking back, I don't think I tried many, but I don't think I scored one.
Is there any concept of a safety? So like in the NFL or in football? Okay. So you know what I'm talking about, where you tackle the opposing team. Then okay, yeah.
What happens though?
If you KDot?
That shit down immediately.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure you knew what a safety was.
Well, okay, hold on, time out. There is the concept of if you get tackled in your own end zone, I'll call it end zone for you guys, and you press the ball down. It's a turnover, so the other team gets the ball, but they don't score. They don't get any points off it.
Okay, so you can technically get tackled in your own end zone. It just is a turnover,
right?
Versus maybe a scrum as a restart or something.
And it's a bad turn. No, okay. There's a lot of rules on depending on how the ball went in, but a lot of times it will be a scrum at the 5-yard line. So it's really close. Like it's not a good turnover to give. You don't want to do it.
Okay,
but that's the third way of scoring is the drop kick, which is very similar, or it's the cousin because it's also 3 points to the penalty kick, which is whenever there's a penalty, the team can choose to kick to the post. And that is wherever the penalty happened, just like a foul in soccer, like a free kick. You grab the tee, aim at the post, and kick it. And if it goes through the post, you get 3 points. So that's the other way to score 3 points.
Okay.
Now there's one more. There's one more that I wanted to tell you, which I think is pretty cool. It's called a penalty try. And it happens when a player is about to score a try, but an opponent does something illegal to prevent them from scoring the try. So imagine a guy is breaking away in football, and a defender, instead of tackling them normally when they're about to score the touchdown, just grabs them by the mask, right? So like just clearly a penalty, but prevented the touchdown, right? The referee can award what's called a penalty try, which is it's a try and the conversion goes to the middle of the points of the post. So it's like basically you get punished for using an illegal tactic by moving the conversion to the center of the post, which is really easy to make. Any kicker is going to make that.
Okay. So the referee, the sir.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, did a little reading there. The sir can.
Or man.
Yeah. Or man. Can basically say, hey, this would have been a try. They determine it would have been.
If it weren't for this illegal maneuver, play, it would have been a try. Like it usually happens, some guy is about to score and a guy just like hits him really hard, or like sort of illegally grabs the ball in the ruck, which they don't have the right to do that, and they know that it was going to be a try. They'll call it a penalty try.
So question, because like in soccer, there's like you can get a red because it would have been a 1-on-1 30 yards away or 10 yards away, whatever. In the case of a penalty try, let's say I'm on the wing, I got nothing but daylight, right? And let's assume I'm never perpetually injured and I've got some wheels on me, and I can actually get past.
It's an assumption.
Well, it's an assumption, and I needed to state.
Let's pretend.
Let's
Let's
pretend. Right. Let's
Yeah.
pretend.
Okay. So give me a second.
And
Okay.
then KDot just fucking ends me in the most illegal fashion ever.
Right.
Realest thing you said.
Well, we learn about the tackle, right? So no arms. So he hits you no arms.
No arms, dude. All
Yeah.
legs. He just scissors my leg.
You
It's
can
unbelievable.
absolutely get a red. You can
Okay,
absolutely
so
get a red.
that I could get a penalty try even though I'm like 35 yards away. I'm like, I'm
You know
clearly there.
Oh, no,
Sir,
no, no, no.
Sir, I'm
Not
clearly,
if you're that
no.
far. Not if you're that far. But
Okay,
he
so
can
what
definitely
about
get a
10
red
yards?
for that.
10
I
yards.
don't know. I don't know exactly what constitutes like I can award a penalty try. I would say if you're like within a couple yards of the angle, they may
Okay.
call it. But I don't
So
know
it's gotta
exactly
be
what
close.
yeah.
I think I would turn to the sir and say, look at him. He was never getting it.
You can't move, sir.
Can't move. You can't award something that was never going to get it.
I
He'd
think
probably
we're
say,
figuring
I
this out.
agree with you, and here's a red card.
Okay, well, you know what? We're gonna tease next week's episode where Elsie may or may not talk about cards because I have an idea of what it is based on context. But
Wait, about what?
Elsie, do not tell them what a red card is.
Okay.
If there is such a thing in rugby, who knows? Who knows? Any other scoring that we need to know about?
That's it. Can't score in
Okay.
any other way.
Okay, so there is the conversion, or I'm sorry, there's the try, 5 points. There is the conversion, 2 points.
Yeah.
There is the penalty try, which was the same 5 points, except the conversion's right down the middle. That's
Hold
2
on.
points.
It's a penalty try now that I'm thinking about it. I think they may just give you the conversion. You may just get all 7 points. See, I'm
Oh, you
rusty
don't
on
even
this.
need to.
Yeah, I think you may
That
get
makes sense.
you may get the conversion points.
That's fucking embarrassing for any kicker that misses from right down the middle. So yeah, save
Penalty
them
try.
the embarrassment.
Awards the team the 7 points. That's right. Yeah. So and there's a way to signal it. So the ref will, whenever they signal a try, they put their hand up, like straight up with the whistle. But if they also run towards the center of the post, that's a penalty try, and then you get the 7 points. You don't even have to
run
kick
the
it.
center of the post.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
You got to sprint as a ref.
Yeah, you got to sprint. Okay, and so then there's the drop kick. That's 3 points. And was it a penalty kick, which is also 3 points?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we
That's
miss
it.
anything? That's it. All right.
So if you can do the math, when I think New Zealand scored, was it 104?
Yeah.
So, think about how many times they had to score on the U.S. Eagles.
Yeah, that's about 20 tries.
Yeah, I got to do some division.
Right. Well,
That's right.
actually, right,
Not
because there's
20.
no way to get 4. I was going to say you can't. Well, and then they missed. Oh, shit.
They can miss conversions, so you're not going to get the numbers.
Okay.
Like
Here's what it is. I got it. 20 tries, 19 conversions, and
No,
2
you
drop
already-
kicks.
Wait, you're like over 140 points.
No. 20 tries, 20 times 5. Right.
That's 100.
That's 100. And then you, right. Okay. I don't know why. When I said 19 conversions, I was like subtract 2 instead of add 38. So,
Math.
I'm all over the place.
I was looking out for some reason after we started talking about all the different varieties of scoring. I was wondering what the average score was in a rugby match,
Ooh.
and I was looking at what the lowest score ever in a rugby match was, just based on it. So, what do you think the average score is of a professional rugby match?
So is this like the MLR or like in general?
It says
just like
the-
whatever Google says.
Professional rugby matches.
What is the average score? Like, so the sum of both teams or like a
It's
score?
one team. Like one team, it looks
Oh,
like
one team.
Yeah.
26.
Yeah, I want to say a little less than that. I want to say like 19.
Oh, they actually give me the breakdown per league.
Nice,
But the
okay.
average overall is hang on, I just lost it. 24.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I know so much.
And then the lowest match score in the
Is that
history
bad?
of rugby. What do you think that was?
3-0.
It's got to be 3-0 or 0-0.
9-3.
Really?
Wow, nobody's
Happened
ever
in
just scored
1991. Australia defeated Western Samoa.
Do you happen to
Good
have the
year.
biggest shutout / blowout in there?
They did not have all-time rugby records. Just pulling up some Barstool thing.
I think New Zealand put
Please do.
over 100
Oh, sorry, Bleacher Report.
on Japan. at
All
some
right, this
point.
is is also old information. I guess this article was written in 2009, so things could have changed. highest match score. The highest World Cup score was when the All Blacks beat Japan 145-17.
That's what I just said. Yep. That's right.
145-17.
They probably got those 20 tries right
Oh,
there.
I was going to say, well, now the math works. I was just anticipating this.
Can you imagine, though? You're like, what was it, 145?
I'm still doing the math in my head, by the way.
Can you imagine you're 142-17, you get a penalty kick, and you're like, posts, we're going for 3.
And the most points by a single person in a match was 45.
I'm going to go like 74.
Oh.
Johnny Wilkinson, the legend.
Johnny.
He really was.
It was 45.
45 is a fuck ton.
And the last one, the most tries by a single person in a match.
Well, okay, you said
6.
45, so yeah, I would go 7.
Answer 6 by the All Blacks is Mark Ellis in Japan in 1995.
Oh, Mark.
And there's some rugby trivia. There you go.
Love
Mark
it.
Ellis is a legend. I don't know.
Learn every day, baby.
Dude,
Oh, that guy, Mark Ellis.
everyone knows Mark Ellis.
Yeah,
No,
accountants-
if you do,
accountants
Kadeem, you like badass motherfuckers. If you want to look up somebody like that, look at Jonah Lomu from the New Zealand All Blacks. This guy was running over people, and you just forget that he's playing professional rugby. Like, he looks like he's running over children. And it's like, no, these guys he's running over are like 200 pounds and like 6'2". It's just like, holy shit.
I've seen this motherfucker before.
Yeah.
He's just a badass motherfucker. I've seen this dude before. Yeah, because there was always talk about whether or not he could play in the NFL. I remember there was a lot of talk about whether or not this dude could play in the NFL.
I can see that conversation.
But he passed away a few years ago. So rest in peace.
Yeah, I know.
Rest in peace.
Jonah Lomu.
Still thinking like 15 tries.
He's still
trying to
going
get to
math,
104. Yeah, I'm still trying to get to 104. Anyway, that's going to conclude LC's rugby rule of the day. LC teaching us scoring, but not math. Thank you, LC.
Oh, he was
really
6'5", 265?
It's
a behemoth.
It's that dude.
Jesus, I'm sorry. I saw that.
And,
it's like, what?
And he's coming at you with some speed, with an intention of running you over. Like, you have no chance.
Anyone that cuts his hair like this dude cuts his hair is not somebody you fuck with.
Had a little.
He's got like a Hitler stash on his forehead.
Guys. Okay, 16 tries, 10 conversions, 2 drop kicks. I think that does it. I think we get to 104. Anyway, people watching at home, thanks if you're still here. You can feel free to check my math on that. We are now going to conclude with a different version of the State of the Union, your DC Sports wraparound coverage segment. We haven't done it in a while, but I figure what ends up happening is I end up reading out results that you could just Google on your own. So we're just going to sort of give you our takes on it. I see LC's wearing a Wizards shirt. How are we doing? How are the Washington Wizards doing? Looks like we're a disaster.
I got bad news and good news. The bad news is in the last 6 games we're 1-5. So that's not good. The good news is that the team we beat was the Detroit Pistons. So Matt eat
Regan.
it. Sorry. that's
for you, bud.
So screw your Michigan sports weekend, whatever the fuck you were doing. You lost against this team that's so bad that's 1-5. That's who you lost against. So there's some good in the bad.
It feels like we started off the season by setting the NBA world on fire. At which point the NBA world responded and set us on fire.
I think it's a little bit of regression to the mean happening. Like
clearly
we were, in it just above our own, our own level, and we're just sort of coming back to more normalcy. Who knows? It's like 82 fucking games. Who knows what the hell would happen?
Long way to go. It sort of feels like the NBA just sort of almost changed the schedule on us. They saw we were doing well. They're like, how about we just send them out west a little bit, see what happens there. We're not doing well against the Western Conference. Like, it's funny because last year we weren't doing well against bad teams, and against
shitty
the West
East
we
teams.
were great.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is a total flip of the script here.
Allow me to get my Colin Cowherd on for just a moment.
Please.
Bradley Beal is playing, as he said in his own words, shitty. And this is Brad Beal's team. His numbers are atrocious. And he is not playing at the caliber of a guy who's supposed to have, this is his team. And there are some stuff buzzing around in and around that locker room. You hear certain things that Montrez is saying. You hear certain things some other guys are saying. I think they do not know what the identity of the team is at this particular point in time with Brad Beal in the lineup, supposed to be first banana. I said it earlier in this season. I think I said it on this podcast. The right now, whose team I thought it was Spencer's, more than I thought it was anybody else at that particular point. I think you have a team having a crisis of faith sort of situation with thinking that Brad Beal's supposed to be the guy here, but maybe the game can't go through him. And that's something that we've got to kind of figure out.
Do you think Brad is potentially not a PTP, a prime time player?
I think that there is a difference, maybe, because look, he has been the top guy in theory for a while now, right? With Wall not being there, with Russ not being the Russ of old, there was always a thought that he's been the guy, but it's sort of like that whisper, hush, hush. Yeah, we know it's Brad, but he's not the face guy. When you're the face guy, there's a different dynamic. When you're the guy that everybody's going to and this is your team, it's a different kind of pressure. Maybe he's not that. I don't know. I still think it's early on. As you said, 82 games. I don't even fucking pay attention to basketball until at least around Christmas. And, like, we're still and I'm saying, like, Christmas Day. I'll tune in for a day. Then I'll take another break. Then All-Star Week, I'm going to check back in.
Day.
Right? And then, like, I'll check back in around All-Star Week. And then it's like, all right, let me know what the playoff situation is looking like. And then I'll be fully back in the fold. It's too goddamn long a season. Cut it in half. We'd be just fine.
LC, what are your thoughts on Bradley Beal? What are your thoughts on the Wizards? And more than that, maybe whose team this should be?
I mean, it should be Brad's. I don't think.
Right.
Just out of level of play or, just pure talent, out of seniority, I think it should be Brad's team. I don't think anybody should have a right on that locker room to say, no, it's mine. Now, is he doing that? Then, clearly he's admitting that he's not at his best level. Players go through ups and downs. I think this will be an interesting point for them. Like, you started off so hot. You got to figure out what's going on, right? Like, why are we 1-5? What has changed? If you're not playing if you're not playing at your level, great that you acknowledge it. Second step is to fix it. So, I think that'll be the real challenge. And it may not be just on Brad, right? Like, there may be things that, he may start to feel uncomfortable with in sort of how the team is playing or how he plays with others. And if he thinks that there are other things that people can do to help him get better, again, it's his team, right? Like, he's got to be able to say, like, hey, coach, I want this kind of system, this kind of minutes distribution, or whatever he thinks that would make him come back to the level that we know he can play. Can he do it on demand? I think that's still a question.
Sure.
I think that's still a question. We haven't been in those situations where he's the only guy. It's, what are you going to do that on a game 33 of the season? Like, that's just, how much pressure can you have on a close game? Like, yes, of course it's pressure. You want to win every game, but I think it's too early to know if he is a PTP, as you put it.
Yeah, that's fair. We're still seventh in the conference. Okay, so as of right now, totally fine. It is very tight. Just looking at these standings, 76ers 15-13. We're 15-13. Hornets are 15-14. Celtics 14-14. All at the time of this recording. Good news: Rui Hachimura may be coming back soon. He is undefeated on the season. Thomas Bryant,
so am I.
Undefeated on the season. Lautaro Cabrera, undefeated on the season.
Minutes,
so we are gonna. Jokes aside, we are gonna get some players back, and we're gonna see how they integrate into it. But Rui is a very, very big part of what we do.
I was happy to see
take that next step.
Abdia back. Yeah, I was happy to see Danny back.
Yep. Love him. I think he's had a fantastic season as a one-on-one defender, man. I think he's been excellent. He's proven that he's worth that pick.
That play where he pushed the ball up the court, got to Montrez, and for that dunk was.
Love me some Denny. Love me some Denny over there at Cap One. That's the Wizards. So we suck right now, but maybe we'll be fine. We play Spencer Brudig's Kings tonight when this comes out, Wednesday night. So let's see what happens over there. De'Aaron Fox just came out and told the world that the only place he's ever done losing is in Sacramento. So we'll see how he's feeling by the time it tips off tomorrow. That cracked me up. Washington Capitals are good. First place in the Metro. Don't think there's much more to be said other than the team is playing very, very well. They won 3 of their last 4. We lost to the Penguins. But similar to KDot's take on basketball, there is a long way to go. 82 games. Let's just make the playoffs as we always do. Knock on wood, stay healthy. And we'll proceed as forward. One thing I wanted to say, Georgetown Hoyas basketball. My God, I was at the Syracuse-Georgetown game on Saturday. Electric atmosphere. Aminu Mohammed played a little too well for my liking. Georgetown freshman. He's now on NBA mock draft boards. And listen, 23 points.
Want him for another year? What's the problem?
At least 2-3 more. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks in 37 minutes. You know when the last time anyone has done that is? Now, I'm thinking about it too. I have no idea. It's wild. It's wild. That is an absurd stat line. He took the game over against Syracuse, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. I mean, the kid is a bona fide star. He's apparently, according to I think Dick Vitale or CBS Sports, whomever it may be, the 4th best freshman in the country. This is a lot of exposure, and I kind of need him to cool it a little bit and have some of these other guys take over the games because we need Aminu for another year or two. That's selfishly speaking. I've also found I have an irrational hatred for Maryland Terps basketball. I know we're a DC sports podcast. I fucking hate the Terps.
Why? What do we do?
Well, so we did a home and home, and I went to both games where Georgetown played Maryland, first time in ages. And we were up in both those games at the under 4, and we lost both those games. And I think at the one at Cap 1, which was the second year where I was like, okay, this one we definitely have. I literally had to be kicked out of the arena after the game because I was sitting there just in disgust. I couldn't move. I couldn't believe we lost the game. Like my friends, I was there with 6 people. They all left. I was like, I'll see you. I'll catch up with you guys.
I'll take the late metro.
I couldn't believe it. I'm also shocked that the Washington Post didn't get a photo of me looking dejected because that is the worst I've ever looked. And I was definitely the only one in the arena, short of the stewards. We're like,
well, I think,
can we please go home?
It's
a game. Oh, yeah, the photographer left too. That's how bad it was. But Maryland Terps basketball, Mark Turgeon, that's the big news. Mark Turgeon is no longer head coach over there. Maryland women's basketball is killing it, though.
Oh, yeah. They're a fantastic program. They have been for years.
Yeah, I think championship or bust, right, LC?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, last year they were really, really good. I think they had the highest scoring offense for a while. And then they lost that game against, I think it was Texas. But no, every year they're really, really good.
Really good. Yeah. I'm excited to see them play. They averaged, I think, close to 100 points a game last season. So they're awesome. Last bit, Washington Spirit. They traded away Teagan McGrady for protection rights in the the NWSL expansion drafts. There are 2 new teams in the NWSL. You're allowed to protect a certain number of players, including your U.S. women's national team players. You're allowed to protect 1. It's a U.S. allocation. A spot is what it's called. So in order to gain protection for Emily Sonnet, Kelly O'Hara, and Andy Sullivan, all of whom are now regulars on the team, we had to make some trades, one of them being Teagan McGrady away to San Diego, I believe. So best of luck to Teagan. Thank you for being part of the team. It was awesome.
That's such an interesting dynamic.
You should see trade
away. Okay, you trade a player for the protection right to keep somebody because they could have been selected.
They could have been selected, right? So you get 9 players to protect, and I guess the plan was we weren't going to protect McGrady, or we were, but we were like, you know what? We would much rather trade her than lose one of these other people. So we ended up doing that. We traded another person who I don't even think played for the club to Angel City, so Los Angeles, known as Angel City in the NWSL, for protection rights for just our U.S. women's national team players. So they could still pick from the other list of people that are considered unprotected. San Diego cannot pick any of our players. That was part of the Teagan McGrady deal. So just wanted to put that out there. That's the Washington Spirit. That draft is on Thursday, I believe. So tomorrow at the time you're seeing this. And I think that's gonna conclude it. I don't think there's much DC United news. Brendan Hines Ike is officially a permanent transfer. This was District Divided. Thank you guys so much for listening to DC Sports Podcast. Thanks for putting up with our depression. I hope we helped you through yours as well, because it was a rough fucking week. The Washington football team preview show, KDot and I will be doing on Thursday, releasing on Friday, 2 p.m. Elsie, as always, you were invited to that to ask us if we really know what we're doing, because we both picked Washington last week. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you guys every week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Take it easy.
Succession is the best show on TV. Formula One fucked everything up. Netflix is the only thing that matters in Formula One, and it's going to be an exciting season next year. Drive to Survive. We're Success. I forget the name, but watch the show. It's great.